Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar about exporting novel food to China. I'm Chris from ZMUni, and I will be your host for this informative session. Before we dive into the main topic today, I'd like to briefly introduce our company. I'd like to briefly introduce our company and the speaker. ZMUni Compliance Center was established in 2018 and has been dedicated to assisting businesses with regulatory compliance for food and cosmetic products in China and other countries. Our service, for example, our food compliance service, we can help with China food compliance, like registration for health food, and also we can help with application for new food ingredients and also new food additives. And we can also help with global food compliance service, like the EU novel food application and novel food application in Thailand or Brazil. We can also help with cosmetic compliance in China and other countries. Okay, next, the speaker today is Kim, my colleague Kim. She is a regulatory analyst in our company and focuses on tracking and integrating the latest food and cosmetic regulatory changes in China. And today's webinar aims to provide all attendees with a better understanding of the new food ingredients market in China and offer practical guidance for navigating the ingredients compliance in China. Okay, now let's move on and welcome Kim to start her presentation.
Hello everyone, this is Kim, and today our webinar is divided into 3 parts. Now let's check part 1 first. So according to statistics collected by ZMUni from 2018 to 2023, a total of 101 new food ingredients applications were accepted, with 34 new food ingredients ultimately approved. Here is a table to help you visualize this data. So over the past few years, there has been a steady increase in new food ingredient applications, indicating robust enthusiasm among food companies. Moreover, in 2023, the National Health Commission of China have approved 12 new food ingredients, making a 140% increase compared to 2022, which suggests an acceleration in the approval process. So here is a table included some new food ingredients approved in recent years. From this table, we can see that it usually takes companies 1 to 2 years to successfully apply for the new food ingredient, from application acceptance to the final approval. Moreover, we can see for some ingredients that have already been approved in multiple countries, obtaining approval in China can be relatively easier. Take PQQ as an example. Globally, it has been approved in several countries and regions, such as Canada, USA, Japan, and EU. Specifically, so PQQ was approved as new food ingredient for twice in China. It was firstly approved as a new food ingredient in March 2022, and its production process is a chemical synthesis method, which can be applied to the beverage field. And 1 year later, in October 2023, PQQ was again approved as a new food ingredient. This time, the manufacture technique is fermentation. In conclusion, innovation in food products heavily depends on innovative food ingredients, which promoting an increasing number of companies to pursue new food ingredient applications. Looking at the new ingredients approved in 2023, plant-based sources continue to dominate. Notably, fermentation-based new ingredients, such as some probiotics and yeast protein, indicate a growing trend in the future applications, not to mention the burgeoning field of synthetic biology. So next, let's explore the trends for new food ingredients in China. One of the most popular product type is sweetener. Take desiccaus as an example. It has seen extensive application in product formulations, promoting many companies to actively position themselves in this sector. According to public statistics, annual desiccaus production in China is expected to exceed 120,000 tons in the near future. Desiccaus has already received GRAS certification in the USA and GMP level approval in Mexico. It has also been approved as a food ingredient in 13 countries and regions, including Chile, South Korea, and Japan. However, desiccaus has yet not to be approved in the European Union and China. NHC of China first accepted the application for desiccaus as a new food ingredient on November 18, 2020, and the process has undergone 5 rounds of review with 8 extensions. Meanwhile, the EFSA is still conducting public consultations on the scientific opinion of desiccaus. In addition, in May of this year, the National Health Commission officially approved desiccaus 3-isomerase as new industrial enzyme preparation, primarily used to catalyze the conversion of D-fructose to D-sucrose. This decision is a positive signal for D-sucrose entry into the Chinese market. Given the extensive safety research abroad and increasing approvals globally, it is expected that desiccaus will also gain approval in China within the next 1 to 2 years. The other example of sweetener is stevia extracts. The stevia market, according to relevant statistics, reached 796.4 million in 2022 and is projected to grow to 1.71427 billion by 2030, with a significant growth expected from 868.8 million in 2023. Currently, stevia leaves are approved as common food ingredient in Japan, as dietary supplements in the United States, and for use in beverages in the EU. While in China, in 2023, the NHC of China accepted the applications for stevia and the stevia extracts as new food ingredients for the first time, and recently the NHC completed the review, classifying stevia as a common food ingredient. Also, on June 14, 2024, the National Center for Food Safety Risk Assessment initiated a public consultation on stevia leaf polyphenols as a new food ingredient. So in this page, I'd like to talk about EGT, a promising ingredient in the skincare industry and a notable player in synthetic biology, is gaining traction. According to MarketWatch, the EGT market is expected to reach 171.9 million by 2028, with a compound annual growth rate of 36.2% from 2022 to 2028. Globally, EGT has been approved for use in food and natural health products in the EU, the United States, Japan, Canada, and other countries. While in China, on May 16, 2024, application of EGT as a new food ingredient was officially accepted by NHC of China. And let's look forward to its subsequent compliance journey in China. The last promising ingredient is yeast protein. It is considered as a rising star in the realm of proteins due to its rich nutritional profile, efficient production, and eco-friendly characteristics. Currently, in the United States, yeast protein has been approved as a nutritional supplement, additives in food products. Also, the EU has approved it as a new food ingredient without specific restrictions on its use. And in 2024, the EU announced a 50 million euros investment to support startups and promote precision fermentation technologies for producing protein substitutes. While in China, in 2023, the NHC of China issued a document announcing yeast protein as a new food ingredient. So all of these developments indicate a dynamic landscape for new food ingredients in China, driven by both domestic innovations and international trends. Okay, next, let's continue to part 2. Here I will introduce the regulatory approach for new food ingredients in China. And according to Food Safety Law of China, new food ingredients need to be approved by the NHC before they can be used in food products. So actually, in China, new food ingredients, new food additives, and new food-related products are collectively referred to as 3 new food. And regarding new food ingredient, it is defined as any item that has no traditional eating habits in China. Here, the traditional eating habits refers to food have been produced and distributed as packaged food in provincial jurisdiction for more than 30 years and are not included in the pharmacopoeia of China. Also, to be approved, new food ingredients must meet specific requirements. Firstly, possess the characteristic of food ingredients. Secondly, meet necessary nutritional requirements. And lastly, new food ingredients should be non-toxic and harmless and not pose any acute, subacute, chronic, or other potential health hazards to humans. However, it's important to note some exclusions. Once an ingredient is approved as a food additive, it cannot be applied for as new food ingredient. For instance, ingredients of HMOs are approved as new food additives in China, so that it cannot apply so that it cannot be applied for as a new food ingredient anymore. Additionally, genetically modified food are not currently accepted as new food ingredients in China. Let's move on to the regulatory bodies involved. The National Health Commission, or NHC of China, is primarily responsible for the application process, with the China Centers for Safety Risk Assessment in the technical review part. This collaboration ensures that both administrative and technical aspects of the application are thoroughly evaluated. For the related regulations, several regulations govern the application of new food ingredients, include the food safety law, also the administrative measures for the safety review of new food ingredients and other documentations. These regulations together provide a framework to ensure food safety and the public health. Now, next, let's discuss the application process. It includes several key steps. For feasibility study, the initial step helps companies to determine whether the ingredient qualifies as a new food ingredient, identify key application points, and understand a required testing. This planning stage typically takes 1 to 2 months. And next, the safety assessment is a crucial part of the process, which we will discuss it later. As of official reviews normally takes 60 working days. Regarding application timelines, the whole process for new food ingredients from acceptance through public consultation to the final approval announcement typically spans 1 to 2 years as the current norm. Now, to give you an idea of the timeline, we have outlined a project schedule. If everything proceeds well, it may take about 1 year to complete the dossier's preparation. This timeline ensures all necessary documents and testings. Let's look at the required dossiers for new food ingredients. For domestic new food ingredients, 8 documents are needed, while for imported new food ingredients, 2 additional documents must be submitted. Among all these dossiers, the safety assessment report is the most crucial. Let's delve deeper into these details. The safety assessment involves various testings, which depend on the specific type of the ingredient. For example, ingredients excluding microorganisms without traditional eating habits at home or abroad should undergo a series of testings, including acute oral toxicity tests, 90-day oral toxicity tests, and reproductive toxicity tests, chronic toxicity, and metabolic tests. So at the end of this section, let's take a look at the regulatory decision. For new food ingredients submitted for review, the NHC will provide 4 types of review conclusions: authorization, rejection, extension, or cessation. In this page, we can take a look at rejection and cessation, as these outcomes highlight potential pitfalls. Some reasons for rejection or cessation include insufficient clinical trial data or substantial equivalence to already authorized new food ingredients. For instance, green oats extract was rejected in October 2023 due to insufficient clinical trial data supporting its health benefits and food safety. Similarly, the NHC ceased the application of ZMUni in May 2024 because it was found to be substantially equivalent to authorized new food ingredients. In conclusion, understanding regulatory framework for new food ingredient in China is essential for navigating the approval process. By adhering to the outlined steps and requirements, companies can ensure their products meet the high standards set by the NHC. As we wrap up the main portion of today's webinar, I'd like to address some frequently asked questions to ensure we cover most of the key points and concerns you might have. Now let's look at the questions. Question 1. How to distinguish whether an ingredient is suitable for applying new food ingredient or food additive. Actually, determine whether an ingredient should be classified as new food ingredient or an additive doesn't have a one-size-fits-all answer. It requires a thorough analysis of the specific ingredient in question. Perhaps you can check the following key points. So, firstly is to determine whether the substance meets the definition of new food ingredients and pay special attention to its purpose of use. Food additives are used to enhance the process or quality of food, and they are applied directly to the food itself. When it comes to food ingredient, there is a stronger emphasis on their nutritional properties. And secondly, may be referred to the approval of foreign use to see the classification of the substance under their management regulations. Also, if the recommended consumption of this ingredient is very low, it is not suitable for application as a new food ingredient. So, are there any qualification requirements for the applicant of new food ingredient? The answer is no. The applicant can be any enterprises or individual. For example, a Chinese company can apply for a product manufactured by an overseas factory. When submitting the application, the relationship between the applicant and the manufacturer should be clearly explained to the review agency. Also, question 3. If some foreign companies want to export a new food ingredient to China, and this ingredient was approved in several countries already, is that helpful for the company to apply in China? Yes, ingredients with foreign approval basis can be exempted from some toxicological tests in the applications. For the fourth question, once a new ingredient is approved in China, can all other companies use it? Definitely. Chinese regulations do not set any protection period for an approved new food ingredient. However, in the EU, some approved novel food may have a 5-year protection period if the applicant requests data protection. and for some new food ingredients that have already been approved in China. As long as the exported ingredients are exactly the same as the approved new food ingredients, there is no need to reapply. Next, if the applicant wants to expand the usage range of an approved new food ingredient, an additional testing is needed. The applicant needs to resubmit a complete set of application documents to the NHC, including the test report. However, it is advisable to assess whether the original test report can still be used based on the specific of the scope expansion. And the last question is about the agencies. Which agencies should the companies commission to complete the safety assessment report? As we said before, the safety assessment report is the most crucial part of the application dossiers. So the safety assessment report should be issued by inspections agencies in China that have obtained CMA. And for imported products, it can be issued by foreign laboratories that comply with GLP standards. So that's all about the webinar. So that's all about the information that I want to share with you. At last, I'd like to mention that ZMUni can help with the compliance issues for exporting novel food, new food ingredients, new food additives to China and other countries. If you have relevant need, welcome to contact us to learn more details. Okay.
Okay, thanks, Kim, for giving us such an comprehensive interpretation on China novel food compliance requirements. If you have any more questions or need any assistance in going the Chinese market, welcome to contact us by email, phone, or LinkedIn. At last, thanks again for all of your participation today. Hope you enjoy and found it insightful. Now we have to say goodbye and see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.